and welcome. It's Pod and Long. I'm your host, Ryan. I am here. It's great to have you with us. I'm here with my co-host, Megastar Mark.
Yo, what's up, everybody? We are here to talk about some feet ball.
And also here, it's Drew. He needs a nickname.com.
I cooked up a nickname. I can't tell which way to point. See,
You have a nickname? The Word of Drew?
The Word of Drew.
Yeah.
Oh, I like that.
See,
This is the Word of Drew.
this is what 20 years of public school education does for you.
In the Latin alphabet, Drew begins with an I.
Actually, just sat down to watch that movie the other day. My wife had never seen it, and I was like, "You want to watch Last Crusade?" And she was like, "Is it campy?" And I was like, "No."
It's awesome.
I like it better than Raiders, and I love Raiders, but that's my
I like it
favorite
better than
Indiana
Raiders.
Jones
Easy.
movie.
I don't know if
I love it.
I don't know if I like it better than Raiders, but I think Raiders and Last Crusade are clearly better than everything else that has come either in between or since.
I won't freak out over anybody picking one or two. Either of those two is your top favorite Indiana Jones. Totally fine.
Right.
Totally fine. Both excellent in their own right. I feel like Last Crusade is more quotable.
Yes, 100% it is.
Sean Connery
Oh, he was great.
is incredible in that.
The only line you get out of Raiders is they're digging in the wrong place. Like that's the line from Raiders.
This isn't an Indiana Jones podcast, but I want to make this point real quick.
Please
the best
do.
part of Last Crusade is the fact that they cast, Sean Connery in a role where, Sean Connery is iconic as James Bond, as this big action hero, and he's the worst action character in that, and I think that's hysterical. He has no idea what to do in any battle or war or fight, and I think that's hysterical that they casted him that. And he's also obviously an amazing actor. Added so much.
When he shoots the tail off of the plane,
right?
And Indiana Jones turns around, what happened?
Yeah.
I don't know. They got us.
He falls down the staircase and
excellent. He sets the carpet on fire at one point.
I had to look it up because I was curious. Sean Connery is only 10 years older than Harrison Ford.
Wow.
Yeah. Right.
But they made it work.
Yes.
They made it work. It's also not Sean Connery's funniest role. Highlander is Sean Connery's funniest role of all time. A movie set in Scotland, where it's finally he can use his accent, but no, he plays a Spaniard instead.
I love that he attempts accents though. Like I give him credit.
So weird.
You ever see The Untouchables? You ever see him try that Chicago accent? Oh dear God!
See him try.
Yeah. Brian De Palma's just like, let it go.
Did anybody? Now we're way off track. Did anybody see what was it? House of Gucci last year? 2 years ago, whatever it was. Jeremy Irons as an old Italian man, like Jeremy Irons is so good, but he is so bad in that because he can't not be Jeremy Irons.
Yeah, right.
Like the posh British guy just comes through no matter what he does.
Worst accent in any movie: Viggo Mortensen in Carlito's Way,
Oh,
pretending he's Latino.
Wow.
Come on, Carlito.
Oh boy.
It's real bad.
Doing his best Razor Ramon.
It's not even Razor Ramon. Actually... It's an exaggerated Razor Ramon. You're right. Oh my God.
Oh boy. All right. We're here to talk about football. We've got a FUBAR. We've got the Stripe Spiral. We've got broadcasting moments. We've got Craig's bets. We got it all.
Hurrah!
We also got the categories. I want to start just a couple nights ago. This happened. Category is bar is closed. The Seahawks destroy the Giants on Monday Night Football. It was ugly, even though it was only 24-7. Is that how it ended? 24-7. It was ugly. It felt like 50-0.
Yeah,
it was bad. It was bad. Brian Daboll, I don't know. He was frustrated at Daniel Jones and threw his Microsoft Surface at him almost.
Dude,
not at him, but next to him.
He's got to calm the fuck down. Not just for his own health. We've talked about that before. We really do believe he might die on the sidelines. That's horrible optics to show to your team. To be that out of control. Like, really. Like, not only that, too, when, like, Daniel Jones walked away, the whole sideline looked like it was in chaos.
Yeah.
The dream is dead for the Giants. Like
the dream is dead.
We're 4 weeks in. There's a series of teams you can already safely eliminate. The Giants are on that list.
They're a scratch off for you at this point.
I mean, what's going to change for them that makes them magically better?
I mean, they didn't have Saquon, so there's that. But like, I agree.
We're getting to the Kawhi Leonard point with Saquon, where it's like, when are they going to have Saquon?
Right.
You know, and I love Saquon, and it pains me to say that because he's that good. But like, when are they going to have him?
Right. That's always been the knock on him, is the injuries, and not just like long-term injuries, little minor taking him out of one game here, one game there. He starts and stops all the time, you know, just in terms of his momentum. It sucks. It really does, because he's such a great player.
Here's a question for you. Do you blame Daniel Jones in this game, or do you blame the Giants' offensive line for being absolutely awful in this game?
Why not? Why not both?
Okay. Yeah, that was going to be my answer. This is okay. You know, this is America. We can have both.
Yep.
We're nuanced here.
That offensive line,
I mean, what was he supposed to do? At times, like, you know, I have multiple Giants fans in my life complaining about Daniel Jones. I'm like, okay, I get it. But also, what is he supposed to do when 4 D linemen get across and he has nowhere to go and nobody's open? What is he supposed to do?
It's not. I think a lot of it is coaching, because like Evan Neal was horrible in this game, right? He was a very high draft pick. The talent is there. Although with Evan Neal, did you hear what he said today?
No.
About the fans and people who were criticizing him? He said, like, does a wolf concern himself with the opinions of sheep? Like, that's literally what he said at the press conference. So, number one, fuck off, buddy. That is a good way to get yourself killed in New York. Like, the fans already hate you. That's not going to help. But like, they're not in the right spot. They're not really even, like, you know, when they're pulling, they're completely out of position to pull for Matt Breida. They
can't run the ball.
Yeah. They can't run the ball, right? Even when Saquon was in, they had trouble. So I don't know. I think it's scheme. I think it's player. And I think it's Daniel Jones. I think it's all of it.
Wow.
It doesn't look good.
Barr was trash at the end of the night.
Does anybody, if this is the wrong football, if I say Zlatan Ibrahimovic, does everybody know who I'm talking about?
Nope.
All right. Swedish soccer player, king of the great soundbite. Similarly, at the height of his power, he was once compared, you know, somebody was like, compare yourself to, you know, another great player. And his answer to the reporter was, a lion does not compare himself to mortal men. He once told his team in Paris that he would re-sign with them if they replaced the Eiffel Tower with a statue of him. He's an amazing soundbite. Anyway, I don't mean to get sidetracked.
But is he talented enough to back up that?
Yes.
Evan Neal is not. And that's, I think, the biggest difference here.
Yeah. Boy, oh boy. Tough sledding for the Giants.
They've invested a lot of money in draft picks into that O-line. That I think is the most frustrating thing if you're a Giants fan, is this team had, like, whoever the O-line coach probably needs to get replaced, because they're not responding to him. I mean, this is it looks bad. Every week looks worse.
Yeah, this was not good.
You know, unfortunately they focused all of their efforts in the offseason on improving themselves at the skill positions, which is what they thought they needed to do. Mm-hmm. But as a result, now that their offensive line is falling apart, they have no ulterior solution.
Right.
Yeah.
And you know, I hate to dump on the Giants again, but like, you got Philly twice, you got the Eagles, or you got the Cowboys twice. I mean, even the Commanders, my scrappy Commanders.
How many teams are you claiming now, by the way?
Oh, you're not on the Commanders bandwagon?
I'm still on the Rams bandwagon, but I'm on the Commanders. I said it last week that they were scrappy, and I stand by it.
Okay.
Mark's going to have one of those seasons like he used to have in Tecmo Super Bowl, where you had 2 teams throughout the season, and then in the NFC Championship game, you had to make a decision between which one he wanted to control to go to the Super Bowl. That's what Mark's thinking.
You start pausing it to see switch sides at halftime.
I think of myself more as Bobby Heenan during the Royal Rumble, where I would just constantly pick a new person as my favorite until he got thrown out. So.
Yeah. I'm not sure how you fix this. I'm really not sure, because you're paying Daniel Jones a lot of money now.
$40 million.
It's not a long-term deal, but he's getting Jaylen Brownish money.
He is getting Jaylen Brownish money.
You got that checkbox already done.
We got to check that one.
Very few people actually get Jaylen Brown money, but he's close.
He's close. Yeah, I'm really not sure. Yeah, they played the Cowboys once, right? So they got another Cowboys game. I'm sure there's some other rough. I mean, they almost got beat by the Cardinals. They had to rally back. Another thing that made me laugh in this game is Drew Lock made an appearance.
Yeah, right. He was so excited.
I love seeing Drew Lock make an appearance there when Gino was out with a twisted ankle, and then he threw a long touchdown to Noah Fant.
He did.
Yeah. So one of my Giants fans was here, and he goes, "Oh, another one, man!" I go, "That was Drew Lock that did that to you. Drew Lock did that to you." It's like, it's worse than I thought.
I like anybody who's excited to get in the game. He was just so pumped up
Me?
on the sideline. I know, right? Oh, moi.
Oh, all right.
Before I forget, fuck
yes,
there it is. I gotta get that one in there.
Oh yeah, that guy,
of course.
Yeah.
Fuck that guy.
Yep.
Yeah.
I hated when they said like Pete Carroll spends so much time, paying attention to his players and being their friend and really taking care of them. You know who he didn't take care of? Those kids at USC.
Several
anyway.
USC players, but okay.
Right.
All right, next category is what's better than the best? The Bills come out and beat the heck out of our guy Mike McDaniel and the Dolphins. They look great. They look unstoppable on both sides of the ball. Dolphins couldn't do anything. 70 points one week to inept.
Yeah.
I mean, the first 5 possessions were really fun. This game started really, really fun because everything was a touchdown.
So
I went out. I can't wait for this to be 70-70 in the fourth quarter. But that's not what happened. The Bills buckled down.
I got so nervous during this game when it was 14-14. I went to go out and clean up the walnuts from my yard, thinking that I would distract myself. And then I got back and it was like 31-14. I'm like, I guess I'm staying now. Bills played. I think McDermott doesn't get enough credit sometimes as a defensive mind because he knew exactly how to slow that team down. He was real good at that. And I feel like a lot of attention goes on him. Also, going into this game, everybody was talking about the Dolphins with good reason because of that offense. I think people ignore the fact that Josh Allen saves a lot of his best games for the Dolphins. I think I read today because he won the Player of the Week this week.
Yeah, he was amazing.
He has won that award 12 times in his career. 5 out of the 12 have come against the Dolphins. So, dude, for some reason, does not like this team. It's like the anti-Jets. He always plays shit against the Jets, and he just decimates the Dolphins, regardless who the coach is. It was a great win. Unfortunately, Tre'Davious went down again, which
that was sad.
Sucks. He's one of my absolute favorite Bills of the last 7-8 years, and this is probably it. I mean, because he tore his ACL.
Achilles.
And then he ruptured his Achilles. He's on the wrong side of 30. All of his guaranteed money's paid up. It sucks, but this is probably the end.
That's sad.
It is because he's a good player, and he just had, unfortunately, his career got curtailed by shitty luck. So
yeah,
but it was a great performance, and
and Von Miller
will bounce back. By the way,
Von Miller's not even out there yet. Which is you said that in a message Von Miller or in last week's episode, I think.
Yeah.
Von Miller will be there soon. I totally forgot he was even there.
Yeah, he practiced today. It was his first day fully practiced. So I don't think they're gonna play him against the Jaguars.
Right. Yeah, they don't need to.
Because Jaguars are tough. But the flight thing and the whole how that affects your knee. I mean, I'm sure
don't send him over there. That would
smarter
be dumb.
people than I can answer that. Yeah. So
I want to throw this. Maybe this isn't the week for this, and maybe this isn't the time for this, but we're roughly at the quarter post. And I bring it up after these 2 games because I think all 4 of these teams, Seattle, the Giants, the Bills, Miami, at some point were thought of as teams in either playoff contention or heavy playoff contention. After 4 weeks, how many teams right now do you guys envision could win the Super Bowl?
4.
I have 5 personally, with an option on 2 more.
Name your 5. Name your 5.
Buffalo, Miami. Unfortunately, both in the same division.
I have them.
Okay.
Yep.
Kansas City.
Yeah.
Philly until proven otherwise.
Yeah.
And San Francisco.
Oh, okay. I have 5 then. Okay,
and the outside looking in is if Dallas can get their shit together consistently, and if Baltimore can get their shit together consistently. Neither of which I'm counting on.
Right.
But we're at the quarter post, and I'm already down to 1/6 of the league that I think could reasonably win the Super Bowl.
There are so many 2-2 teams in this league right now. Like,
and if they're not actually 2-2, they're spiritually 2-2.
They feel like 2-2.
Right. Yes. Well, something will change at some point. Something is going to change.
Somebody's going to go cold.
Yeah.
You know,
the Bengals could get hot.
Crazy run.
Yeah, somebody could make a run. Texans could be looking good. Who knows?
All
Break up the
all of Ryan's hopes.
I think the
dreams.
Titans, if they could get consistent, that's their biggest problem. We'll talk about it.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
All right, moving into the next.
Dolphins will bounce back. They will do. Especially, I think this week they play the Giants. I think. So.
Oh my God.
That's okay. After this week, the Giants play on Sunday night against the Bills in Buffalo. So
90 points.
Rough.
Gonna keep going up.
Giants.
Everyone's just gonna break the records. Oh, and they get Von Miller for that game, probably. Good luck, Giants. Sorry, Giants fans. I don't feel sorry for you, Giants fans. You've won 4 Super Bowls. Like, come on.
And 2 of them reasonably recently.
Yeah, calm down. Come on.
The 2 that they won.
You know what? I can't.
I can appreciate both of them. I appreciate them.
I can't come down on the Giants get a pass from me forever.
Yes,
right.
Like if I knew his address, I would send Tom Coughlin a Christmas card unbidden every year for the rest of his natural life.
It's probably like 14 Anger Street in just Purple Face, Idaho.
In Boca Raton, though.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Yes.
Drew, just real quick side note, Drew, you and I watched the Giants New England helmet catch game together.
Yes.
Okay?
Yes.
When that happened
at
our apartment, right? We could hear people outside. We were. I think we mentioned this before. We were all the time in upstate New York.
Yes.
We could hear. You could just hear it from other apartments. Just like this swelling of excitement and cheering. It was the most exciting football game I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah.
And I will still, to this day, go to bat for that job. The Giants will always have a special place in my heart. So I don't want any Giants fan listening to think we're shitting on them. It's because I always will respect that team for blowing up the Death Star that night. So.
I appreciate that. One thing I don't love about that game, though, is the call. Like, that's this is not a great call for that
Joe
moment.
Buck?
It was a Joe Buck moment. Like, it was a rough call for that moment. I don't know what was going on. He was being a minimalist. He was trying to do that whole thing then, but what a moment. What a game.
Yep.
So nervous. I did not want that.
Yeah, you remember it was a huge thing at the time. That was like, and people still do it, that whole era of like, do you sit your players in week 17 or do you play your players in week 17? Yep. And the Giants played the Patriots in week 17 and Tom Coughlin played his players.
Yeah.
And the Giants lost a close game that week, but I'm sure that's when they saw something on tape.
Yep.
Yeah.
That they said,
realized
if we just make this small adjustment, we've got
we got him.
I think it's hard to explain. I feel like even explaining to my son how hard this is to. When I used to watch a Super Bowl, I used to get so fucking nervous because I hated the Patriots so much.
Yes.
I used to just I can't believe this team is back. I just want the other team to win so badly. I don't care who it is. I just want them to win.
Yeah.
One of the most angry, the angriest I think I've ever been at a football game that's not Bills related was the Seahawks game too. Like I got so enraged at that one where not running Marshawn Lynch.
They should have won. Yeah.
Listen, so the Patriots won 6 Super Bowls?
Yes, 6
in the Brady era. Okay, take away the Philly game, because the Philly game, the Patriots were good, and they legitimately came out and rocked Philly.
They sure did.
I feel like the other 5 of the and take away the Rams game because that Rams team wasn't ready, defense or no.
Yeah,
so that's rough. 2. I will give the Patriots 2. The other 4 of those games they easily could have lost.
Yeah.
They could have finished their dynasty 2-6 instead of 6-2.
Yeah,
like that's on. They were this close in all those games. Oh yeah, John Casey, Mike Martz decides to stop running the ball, even though Marshall Falk is averaging 6.5 yards a carry. Like the Falcons forget how to play football.
Yeah, right.
Marshawn Lynch at the 1 yard line.
Yeah,
like
that
any one of those things could have gone differently.
Yeah, right.
Big Super Bowl guy, clearly. Got my Bud Light guy back here from the Super Bowl one year. Watched every Super Bowl, super into it. They used to make these Super Bowl books where I would be like the history of the Super Bowl. And I would get one every year. I did not watch, I think it was 3 Super Bowls. I did not watch a minute of. Did not watch that Falcons one.
No.
Didn't watch the Eagles one where the Eagles won. Turn it on after and watch the highlights. And I did not watch that Rams one. I made a decision. I cannot live this way. I'm not watching a Patriots Super Bowl anymore after that Seahawks one. I was like, I don't care. No. I'm not watching a minute of it. Don't care.
I think Drew and I were together for that one too. We watched a lot of Super Bowls together, but
just think about that. I love football my whole life. I watched every Super Bowl. I'm obsessed with the Super Bowl, the whole thing, and I did not watch a minute of 3 separate Super Bowls because they were in it. And I just didn't want to deal with it.
It's better for football that this dynasty died.
Yeah.
Yes.
We'll talk about them in a second.
We'll talk about that in a second.
I can't wait. All right.
Opinions.
I can't wait. Category is what? The Titans look good again and beat the Bengals. What the hell? What? Every other week, Titans.
Every other week, that's all they are.
They look hideous last week. This week, they look great.
I think on the preview show, I commented this is a 9-8 team, and I am very firmly in that camp now. And I didn't think it was going to go win-loss throughout the year, but they sure look like it, man.
Can they win 2 in a row? It would be a miracle at this point.
When this team is committed to running the ball, they are, I think, in that conversation. Well, they should at least win the division. But I got to see it more than 2 weeks. I got to see it more than 1 week in a row, man. Give me another one. Let's see what we got.
The Titans do, the last week being an outlier where they only ran Derrick Henry like 8 times or whatever. The Titans do the same exact thing every week. It's kind of like, if there's Mets fans out there, it's kind of like when Steve Traxel pitched for the Mets in like that 05-06 era. If you scored more than 4 runs with Traxel on the mound, you were going to win. If you scored less than 4 runs with him on the mound, you were going to lose. And that's sort of how it is with the Titans. The Titans are the constant. It's how everybody else around their universe revolves that dictates whether they win or lose.
Right. That's a good way to put it. They play the Colts this week in Indianapolis.
They're going to get beat.
I feel like that's
going to get beat.
I hate to say it because I do, like I said, I love the Titans when they're on. But
it's going to be like 16-9 Colts win.
If this was like, I don't know, if this was like the Packers, I would actually say, oh yeah, the Titans should take this one. But the fact that it's the Colts division game, I'm like, oh, this is going to be more potential for wackiness. Nah.
And Jonathan Taylor's back, allegedly.
Yes? Is he going to play? Do we know?
I don't know.
Maybe, possibly.
I don't know.
Depends on how much cocaine Jim Irsay has done this week.
He wants that Jaylen Brown money.
Yeah. Right. Is Richardson okay, healthy, not concussed?
He played that whole game.
He did play the whole game.
Yeah, good for him.
We'll talk about him in a minute too. I have opinions.
Bengals look terrible again.
Yeah.
Listen,
they're a mess right now.
Listen, if you're the Bengals, shut it all down because you control your draft pick, right? Yeah. So just shut it all down. There are some great offensive linemen in this year's draft. There's some really good tackles and guards. There's guys you can get in the second round. Spend your first 3 picks on offensive linemen and try again next year.
The old Madden draft tactic.
Seriously.
Just draft a brand new O-line with your first 5 picks.
And you're good.
He who controls the spice controls the universe. He who controls the trenches wins football games.
No, you're right. I mean, so what was it? Jamarcus after the game.
Jamar Chase. I'm always fucking
open. Please, if Jamarcus Russell did something after the Bengals game, please tell me.
Jamarcus is back. He still hasn't watched tape.
He got his drank. No, I mean, like, I understand the frustration. I feel like he probably could have approached that better, but I get it. I totally get it. And even Burrow, though, like they asked him, like, "You all right?" He's like, "No, I'm not. I heard it again." Like he's like, it's better than it was the week before, but it still hurts. Like,
and then he's on the sideline at the end of the game. They're getting blown out, and he's on the bench, and he's doing this with his elbow, like rubbing his elbow and stuff. I'm like, oh, you can't have an elbow problem too. Right. Oh, no,
he's got a leg problem. He's got an elbow problem.
I got a leg thing.
I understand the Bengals where
and
they're
a heart attack.
Like Zach Taylor, you're not going to get fired if you have a one bad year after what you've done the previous years. Like it happens. So rest this poor man.
Boy, oh boy. All right, next game in what is the Eagles need overtime to take out the Commanders? Mark's Commanders.
The scrappy Commanders.
Also,
scrappy.
The other most surprising thing of this game, other than the Commanders taking it to the Eagles, they look great.
Yeah. They did.
Couldn't do anything. 5 turnovers from Sam Howell the week before. This week, world beater. But the Commanders had a chance to win this game, and they didn't take it with Riverboat Ron.
Riverboat Ron. What the hell, man?
What happened? Did he forget?
This is your
just like how he forgot Sam Howell was on the team. He forgot the team couldn't make the playoffs, and now he forgot he's supposed to go for 2 there.
This is the perfect scenario too, because like they were 2-1 going in, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you roll the dice. Like, I mean, this is exactly the time to do this. You got him on the ropes.
You're on the road. Just go for it. You're Riverboat Ron. You can get away with it. You're not Brendan Staley. You're Riverboat.
Away with it.
What do you got to lose?
This is the crushing weight of expectation in Washington, right? Like, suddenly Washington is not going to be the laughingstock of the league, and now Ron gets conservative.
I know, right?
Why now?
I'm waiting for the Eagles, by the way, to
look normal.
Put it together. Like, they're 4-0, but they could just be 2-2 as well.
Weirdest 4-0 team.
Spiritual 2-2 sometimes.
Yeah, they are spiritually 2-2.
Just the way things are shaping up with Ron and Washington and a new ownership coming in and talent coming in, coming out. Say it with me now and see if it feels comfortable. Future University of Nebraska coach Ron, Riverboat Ron.
Yes.
Doesn't that seem like that's destined to happen?
Yes, it's going to. It's going to happen.
You know what? Ron would be a hell of a college.
Oh my God, he'd be unbelievable.
He'd be
the best. Must-see television.
Recruiting, he'd be dynamite at, because just his personality and just, obviously the name.
Right.
Like I said, I don't think he stays with the Commanders this year. It might be his own personal choice, but give it a year, and I think a college football team would throw anything at this guy. I mean, I think he'd be a great fit in college football.
Yeah,
I like Ron.
I love Ron. I was sad when he got fired by the Panthers. And we still don't have a good head coach after he's been gone. So I'd
shut your whore mouth.
What's the record since he's been gone? It's not good.
Frank, if you're listening, because I know you are, come on home, baby.
Got nothing to do.
We'll love you. We always loved you.
Frank, we never started a vicious rumor about you, I promise.
Oh, no. All right, final what game of the week was the Texans taking it to the Steelers. Yeah. Beating the hell out of the. When's the last time the Steelers got blown out? Do you remember? Obviously, it's happened. It has to have happened. I cannot pinpoint a time when the Steelers were annihilated like this.
Yeah, I'm amazed.
I can't remember. It has to be like Bubby Brister era or something. Like it has to have happened.
Tommy Gunn.
Cordell, yeah. Tommy
Cordell Stewart.
Oh yeah, it was definitely Cordell.
Well, Cordell. I mean, famously, Neil O'Donnell got rocked in the Super Bowl. Right. It has to have happened since then, but they got destroyed in that game.
They got destroyed in the Super Bowl, but even that game wasn't this. It wasn't 30-6 or whatever this was. I don't know.
It was Larry Brown as your Super Bowl MVP, though.
Yes. That was pissed away by Neil O'Donnell.
This game was the first one I can remember where a Mike Tomlin-led Steelers team looked undisciplined. And that's saying something. That really is, because even the teams that were bad, at least they didn't get penalties on them. They were just, the talent wasn't there. This just looked like chaos. They looked like they had no idea what to do.
This game just reasserts, because Pittsburgh looked so awful against Houston. This game just reasserts how bad the Raiders are. That Pittsburgh looked like Super Bowl champions against the Raiders. Sorry.
We'll get to the Raiders.
Oh, nice.
By the way, go ahead. That CJ Stroud kid is amazing. If anybody took anybody over him in the draft, I mean, that's a bad move.
I'm so angry. I get more angry every week that he does better and better and better. Like, how is me, civilian idiot here, able to pinpoint the best quarterback and you can't?
Bryce will be fine.
He'll be fine.
He will.
Their offensive line isn't good. Their wide receivers aren't good. Like, sorry, I'm giving you hope by damning with faint praise.
We'll get there. He'll
be all right.
The Panthers got problems, and I don't think Bryce Young is one of them.
Stroud really is an anomaly. I mean, he's
good. He's really good.
I don't think anybody expected this, and the fact that he's gone so seamlessly into the NFL is a 1 in 100 chance that would happen with any quarterback. So, like, it's. Yeah. I don't think it's not saying anything bad about Bryce Young. I think it's just Stroud is.
You want me to say some bad things about Bryce Young? I'll do it in a few segments.
No.
I'll be ready. I'm ready. I looked this up really quick because of the Steelers blowout thing interests me. They were blown out 34-3 in 2016 by the Eagles. But before that, it was 27 years earlier that they suffered a worse defeat, losing to the Bengals in 1989, 41-10.
Yeah, it just
so they've been blown out in the last 30-something years 3 times.
I've seen
that's insane.
This team has lost games over the last couple of years. Well, since Big Ben left, and it's always seemed like they just got to get some more the plan is still in place, and you just got to follow the plan, and everything will be okay. And this is the first game I watched. I'm like, oh, this might be not the right plan.
It's finally come
time to overhaul, type of thing.
Yeah, they put a lot of eggs in the baby hands basket.
They did.
Knowing that there were better quarterback drafts coming, and
he can barely hold an egg.
They feel about that now. I know, right?
His little
barely hold an egg.
Wrap around it.
The tinier every week, he gets tinier and tinier hands. Oh man, he's like that guy in Scary Movie 2. Let me use my strong hand. That's. Should we talk about Matt Canada's weird burner account thing here? Or
yes, because anytime anybody in the NFL does something that Kevin Durant did, I'm all for it.
Kevin Durant's burner account.
Kevin Durant's burner account is the greatest ongoing story in the past 8 years in the NBA.
Yep.
He's still got one.
What do you mean
Suns
one? I was about to say, what are you talking about?
86.
He's got a dozen.
How does he remember all these passwords?
He's got 2 from Golden State that he forgot to change the handle on them.
I bet he has some that are cultured for years and years. He's spent
absolutely.
time tweeting about non-basketball things just to build up the backstory.
Absolutely. He's
he's reviewing Marvel movies on one of his
opinions on all sorts of stuff. Yep.
You know what? I did kind of like Doctor Strange. It was
his favorite Pokemon,
Yeah.
Ranking Pokemon.
Yeah.
Oh man. All
Still got one that does Seattle restaurant reviews from his one season there.
So the Steelers offensive coordinator, they're pretty sure has a burner account where
he's a burner account that he used his Pittsburgh Steelers email to make. Oh did you see that?
I didn't know that part.
Yes, he used his fucking business email for not a burner email.
Oh
what an idiot!
Gmail is free, man.
He should be fired just for that. And Tomlin calls him in really? No wonder why we can't figure out how to play offense. Oh, God. We'll get back to him in a minute, I think. This one is this category. To infinity and beyond, the Jaguars go into Andy's room and defeat the Falcons.
Oh, I kind of liked it. It was interesting. I like the technology behind it. I don't know. Maybe I'm a sucker for that. But
that was
watched,
interesting.
Side by side, of this.
Yeah, it was pretty close.
It was really good. It was
pretty close.
The NFL. I like the Nickelodeon thing.
Oh, the slime thing is great. I think the slime thing is
Matt
great.
Trubisky MVP. I always enjoyed that.
Yeah. I have 2 children. One of them likes football, and they both like Toy Story. This is what they said. This is their review of this.
Okay, good.
I like Toy Story, but I'm confused at what's going on. Fair enough. Fair.
Yeah.
Fair. Good. Take a chance. Why not? You got the IP. We might as well take a chance.
Yep.
All right. The real game. Desmond Ridder me this. 2 incredibly terrible interceptions in a row, and potentially a third. It was almost a 3 for 3. It was like a Jameis Winston. We almost went there.
Jags got a good D.
He was not good in this. He was bad in this game, Ridder. And then so bad, he went to the sideline and apologized for one of the picks. And Mac Hollins, I think, was on the sideline and was like, "Get the fuck away from me! Just stop throwing it to them."
What happened that Atlanta is Kyle Pitts wearing a cloak of invisibility?
I know.
What the hell is happening?
Should be really
they're keeping him in line to block.
Yeah.
For what?
I don't know. And they threw to the other tight end. That's the other thing that's the most confusing to me.
The blocking tight end
threw to the other tight end. What are you doing? So you can throw to the tight end.
Yeah.
Just not this guy.
I thought the Jags D-line looked real good.
Yeah, they did.
I mean,
Josh Allen. The other Josh Allen was looking good.
It's 3 sacks. The Trayvon, the defensive tackle in the first overall pick last year, looked real stout in the middle. So,
you know who's also great? Bijan Robinson is fucking awesome. He's so good.
Yeah, they did. That's the only. They were great at getting to the quarterback. The Jags gave up a lot of rushing yards.
Yeah,
I can't wait for Bijan Robinson's inevitable contract dispute.
He's gonna be like, I need $30 million a year. I need Jaylen Brown money.
I need Jaylen Brown money.
Yeah. I also feel like, by the way, when we talk about this team, but I feel like Justin Jefferson is like right at that point where he's gonna freak out that he hasn't got a new contract. Like we're right there. It's like any day now he's gonna come out and he's gonna
we're there. He's gonna get traded to Green Bay for Drew Holiday. Crazy shit's gonna happen.
Drew Holiday.
What are your thoughts on that?
Oh God. All right. America's team, the Lions. On Thursday Night Football, take it to the Packers. They out physicaled the Packers. That's how they won this game. They ran it down their throats. Jordan Love, I still think he needs a little bit of seasoning and a little bit of time, but I still think he's a pretty good quarterback. He's still got something there.
I think, Drew, you called the Packers, having a good season, and even with this, I still feel like this team is going to make the playoffs.
Love seems to have that like Brett Favre, Aaron Rodgers magic. Not that he's those guys, but just in the sense that he seems to be doing a lot with an under-talented wide receiver group.
Yeah,
like Watson's really good now that he's back on the field and he's healthy. But whoever the hell those other two guys are, Dobbs and whatever.
Dobbs has catching ability.
Like those guys, he's making those guys look real good. And far be it from me. I mean, who knows? Maybe the three of them are all Devontae Adams. I doubt it, but maybe they are. But even so, Jordan Love's making them look real good.
Yep.
Yeah, I don't pin this one on him. He didn't play well in this game, but
I do think the Lions are. I think at this point, obviously like the class of the division, but I think they will win this division. But I really do think the Packers sneak in as a wild card. Like losing to the Lions isn't that big of a deal as it was maybe 2-3 years ago. So
how about the Lions getting bailed out here with the gambling thing being overturned?
Yes,
right.
They're getting bailed out. Several players are coming back now.
Yep.
Because they reduced the fines of or the suspensions of people gambling on other sports on the facility.
They should have. I get it. Don't bet on football at all. I don't care. Don't bet it on at all. That's easy to understand. But like if I'm fucking in Detroit and I want to throw some money on a Red Wings game because they're playing on the same night, go ahead. Who cares? Do you have any influence or knowledge?
You don't have insider trading there.
Yeah, right. You don't have a pipeline to finish defensive players.
Mark, do you remember a conversation you and I had probably 20 years ago, probably driving back from a movie late at night, and was somebody in the NFL, I forget who it was, doesn't matter who, got suspended for maybe it was Ricky Williams for marijuana. Do you remember what you said to me about if you need to have a vice in the NFL? Your exact words to me, and for some reason it pops in my head as we talk about the gambling on other sports thing and just don't bet on football. You said to me, if you need to have a vice during the season, make it prostitutes because they can't test you for prostitutes.
That sounds like me.
And they won't throw you out of the league. They won't throw you out of the league for prostitutes.
They can't test you for prostitutes.
That's a good point.
Just ask Warren Sapp about that.
Oh God,
he's always getting caught with a prostitute.
Is he really?
Yeah, wasn't it like 3 separate Super Bowls? He got Warren Sapp arrested before Super Bowl as a commentator.
Not for any money.
Oh boy. All right. This category is for the heart of Caleb Williams' dad.
Caleb Williams' dad ball. I love this game.
The Broncos and the Bears, the two worst teams in the NFL. Somehow the Cardinals weren't involved. We should have made this a triple threat. I'm bringing out the Cardinals. God damn it.
Titties.
2 footballs at the same fucking time. Cage match. Hell in a cell. Sometimes I wish Vince McMahon took over Roger Goodell's job for a day.
One day.
And just one day.
Just the draft. The first
just draft. One day.
That's what I want.
Oh man. Yeah, the Broncos and the Bears had a weird game where the Bears got up early and looked pretty good, and Justin Fields finally did stuff.
He looked, I mean, say what you will about the Bears here, but Justin Fields was not the problem in this game.
No, it's this amazes me. I love the Degrassi episode that the Bears are becoming. Like, Justin Fields says he's going to ignore his coaches and then does and absolutely balls out. And then 2 days ago, his coach has a dreaded press conference where he says he feels the support from the organization, which means he's absolutely going to get fired in the next 14 days. Mm-hmm. This is unbelievable. If I don't know who the student council president is on that team, but they're going to announce that they're pregnant shortly. Somebody's going to start cutting themselves. This team is going to go crazy in short order. I can't wait.
Oh boy. Yeah. The, some weird decisions.
Drake is going to be in their locker room.
His PB won't work.
Everybody's going to be wearing 555 Soul stuff again.
The Eberflus made some weird decisions in this game. You saw him on camera and you saw him make weird decisions. So now he's in real trouble.
I saw a guy with a cry on that said Eberflus. It could have been him. I don't know.
It could have been a stunt double.
Yeah, right.
Like Saddam Hussein had 4 fake Saddam Hussein. That's what Eberflus has.
Is bad. I can't believe how historically bad he is.
He's the worst Bears coach easily.
Yeah.
I heard someone say on a podcast that Mark Trestman is pumping his fist somewhere. Yes, it's not me. Thank you. He had an unbelievably awful press conference too, because they sent Chase Claypool home. Did you see this?
Yeah.
The reporters were like, "Okay, why?" You suck. Why would you do that? And he's like, oh, we just decided it was best for him and the team. And they're like, okay, well, what does that mean? They asked him 20 times in a row, and he just could not get out of it.
They had to send Chase Claypool home. He skipped his computer class taught by that guy that looks like Kane. whose daughter is in a relationship with a guy who deals drugs to the pregnant student council president lady.
You got to steal OxyContin to pay for your apartment.
Yes.
Yes. My God.
Caleb Williams' dad, engineer, watching this with rapt interest.
You guys are all going to enjoy our Degrassi podcast real shortly.
I can't wait for that. What do you think Caleb Williams' dad was thinking during this game? Stay in school, son, please.
Sweating it out.
Do not come out. I don't care how much money they offer you.
His dad is calling several other franchises, probably the Jets, and telling them trade all of your capital for the number 1 pick.
Please.
Honestly, if we end up with Broncos Bears, can the Broncos do they have a draft pick or no?
Yes,
they do.
I believe they do.
Or they still owe it to somebody for the Russ deal.
I think last year they paid that.
Stupid.
I think last year they paid that, which that player made a big impact in that Monday night game. I forget who it was, but it was the cornerback there. Witherspoon, I think, was that pick.
Yes, the Broncos still have their pick.
Broncos could have used that dude against the Dolphins, but so no more sad boy for Sean Payton. Although I was texting with Greg at one point during this game, and I go, the funniest version of this is it ends in a tie. I'm rooting for a tie because that would be just the most epic way to end.
Why are you trying to kill Caleb Williams' dad?
I know.
Son, please. The Bears have 2 picks. Not 1, they have 2.
I gotta look at this here. So, in terms of the bad teams that could possibly get the number 1 overall pick, the Bears, obviously, right?
Yes.
Cardinals,
maybe they have a shot. Wormed their way out of it.
Yeah, they're not even in the conversation right now.
If the Raiders get the number 1 pick, is he cool with the Raiders?
I would think so.
I would think so too. Giants? Would they do that?
No,
probably.
I think they'd be okay.
Okay.
I don't think the Giants would do it, but I think, if we're viewing this through the lens of Caleb Williams' dad, I think the Giants are okay.
Giants. I really think
the Giants are all right.
Fingers crossed, Raiders. I feel like that's what he's hoping for.
Listen, great. Maybe they'll have a new head coach too.
Yeah.
What?
Wow.
Hold up. It's not fair that your teams get generational talent. You already got one with the Spurs. You don't need to get another
right.
one.
You don't need another one.
Okay. I waited fucking 20 years for Josh Allen. I still don't like him all that much.
Jim Kelly. I don't want to hear about it. You had Jim Kelly when the Raiders quarterback was Billy Joe Hobert. All right. You can stay over there in your Crystal Palace.
Oh, that's a good induction. I should write him on my list.
Billy Joe Hobert.
He forgot to study a playbook.
This is my only Billy Joe Hobert anecdote. There was a time where Billy Joe Hobert and Billy Joe Tolliver were both in the league at the same time.
The Saints.
I have a friend at work who is from Kansas City, Kansas. And as he says, that was like disaster in the making for the league, because he's like, in Kansas City, Kansas, you should never have two people named Billy Joe working for you at the same time unless your business is noodling for catfish.
By the way, this mock draft that I'm looking at right now has the Raiders picking 4th, and they have you picking Quinn Ewers, quarterback from Texas.
Okay.
That's fine, except Ewers isn't going to go that high.
You don't think so?
No. Ewers is a very good quarterback talent, but he's not a top 4 talent. Like, all right, yeah, like Williams, and then
Drake May.
Shedeur, depending on what goes on with that. But Drake May, he's the other consensus top pick.
So this other one I'm reading has Drake May go to the Raiders.
Yeah, unless Ewers really goes on a tear, I don't see him being a top 5 pick. Possible, but unlikely.
They have the Patriots taking Bo Nix, which I think is
hysterical.
Kind of funny. Yeah, that would be so on brand.
Please do
amazing.
That. Please.
Yep. That would be amazing, especially because I think Bo Nix at this point is like older than Brandon Weeden was when Brandon Weeden came out. Like, it just feels like he's been in college for a million years.
He's played for 3 separate organizations.
I don't think he's been around quite as long as Michael Penix, who I think started playing college like right after the Truman administration. Like, he went to college on the GI Bill.
Yeah, right.
But Bo Nix is not far behind him.
All right, it's time for, speaking of teams that are winless but they don't have a pick, the ballot of the 2023 Carolina Panthers.
Don't do this to yourself.
Why don't they have a pick, Ryan?
Well, they traded for Bryce Young, who stinks.
No, he's fine.
This game started out. I yelled aloud when Kirk Cousins threw a pick 6 in the red zone to us, and I yelled, "They scored!" Everyone in my house was like, "What? My team scored!"
God, it's like you're rooting for Iowa. Stop doing that to yourself.
Hooray!
They did it. Defense played well. Eventually, they couldn't hold the Vikings down long enough to make this happen. Bryce Young fumbled when they needed to score. He fumbled for a touchdown. It's bad. It's really bad.
Rookie.
And your offensive line is bad.
Yes, and
everyone on offense is bad,
and your wide receivers are bad.
Yeah.
Other than that, Mrs. Lincoln, how was the play?
Yeah. It's hard to watch. It's hard to watch.
Focus on your defensive efforts, because that there's some talent there.
Should we trade him away for nothing and like Christian McCaffrey and watch him score a billion touchdowns? Oh my god!
I mean, we could use
Vikings finally won. I was like, this is the week. The Vikings stink. Their defense stinks. We can do this. We can be competitive here.
And Kirk gave you a lot of chances.
He gave us so many chances.
As Kirk do.
You couldn't put it together for one drive. Anyway, Ballot of the Panthers, 0-4 again.
Kirk Cousins' stats are like top of the league, like top 3 in yardage.
Of course they are.
But it's like I've never seen a man get so many stats other than like this side of Tony Romo and have it mean nothing.
It means nothing. I mean, at least Tony's teams were involved. Oh, yeah. All right. This category, I don't know why I did this. I just wrote, why the Chargers beat the stupid Raiders. The stupid Chargers beat the stupid Raiders on that stupid coach being all stupid. Coach. What the hell? He did it again. He learned nothing. He learned nothing. He went for it on his own 30 and got away with it 2 weeks in a row. What kind of fairy dust is up Brandon Staley's butt this season?
They're just prolonging his firing. That's all it is. Like, there's no way this guy survived this season.
But guys, this is what the analytics says you should do.
Do they? What analytics?
And remind me how many World Series the Oakland Athletics won.
You're right. That
what
movie.
Analytics report? Come on, let's have some common sense here. Also, the other thing I wanted to point out before you get into the Raiders, full on. I don't know if there's a lot to say here, but when Aiden O'Connell walked out, he looked like store brand Derek Carr. Like, he's wearing the 4, but he has the weird mustache.
I can't remember.
Face.
Purdue.
Okay, that's right. Oh, that's right.
Why is Derek Carr back? Oh, it's a store brand.
He was at Purdue under Jeff Brom before Jeff went to Louisville.
From the House of Brown.
From the House of Brown.
Wow.
Yeah.
I mean, he wasn't awful. He was better than Bryce Young. Ain't O'Connell better than Bryce Young. You heard it here first.
You could have kept that first round.
I could have.
Just remember, Ryan, stuff on YouTube lives forever.
I know. I'll be glad to eat crow on that.
Yeah, the Raiders have this incredible tendency over their history to completely erase whoever the previous player with certain numbers was. So, like, since the acrimony with Charles Woodson when he left the first time to go to Green Bay, like, they immediately put another guy out there in 24.
Gotcha.
I forget who the hell it was. It was somebody awful.
Stuart Schweigert.
No, he wore 30, I think. But anyway, like, and they do this all the time. So, like, immediately they're like, it's like 1984. Like, there never was a Derek Carr. There's just Aiden O'Connell wearing number 4, and nobody talks about what came before. They have this terrible tendency to do that. But here comes O'Connell, and you know what? I'm glad they started O'Connell, because if they'd started Brian Hoyer, you already knew what you were getting, which was an automatic loss.
100%.
So why not throw the kid in there? And he played like a kid making his first NFL start. He was, he had a couple of turnovers, but he wasn't atrocious.
He really wasn't. Like, for a rookie, that was pretty impressive.
And the Raiders even forced a turnover. They finally got one. They finished -2 on the day in the turnover battle, but they finally got one. And they allowed 6 sacks to one person.
Khalil Mack is back.
A guy who was also erased.
Who was a Raider.
History.
Yeah.
Another guy that the Raiders decided they didn't need, and then had the horrible, horrible press conference after their first loss in the John Gruden era, where John Gruden was like, boy, I really wish we could have generated better pass rush today. And it's like, oh, you had that guy and you traded him. And it's hard to get that guy back after you've already traded him. And is Khalil Mack what Khalil Mack was 4 seasons ago? Probably not, but he was then.
That's what I was about to say. It's impressive, though, that he did as well as he did, because, like, he was kind of fading a little bit. So, like, it looks like he's back and better than ever. I mean, that was amazing.
Oh, he loves playing the Raiders.
Yeah.
Loves it. And I think he takes personal joy, even though, like, nobody who was responsible for him being traded is still a part of the organization. I think he's still mad as hell. And remember, this is a guy who was like a no-star recruit and ended up at Buffalo because nobody thought he was any good. Then he outworked everybody there, so he's not afraid to carry a chip.
Hey, Khalil, come home, baby.
Oh.
He's not from Buffalo. He's from Florida. He ended up in Buffalo.
UB, which that's amazing too. We always talk about Dante Culpepper. How did Florida International not take a crack?
I mean, listen, late bloomer, right?
Yeah,
nobody thought he was any good. Nobody knew what position he was. I mean, even the NFL doesn't know what position he was. Yeah. He once qualified for All-Pro as 2 different positions in the same year. So the Raiders allow 6 sacks to Khalil Mack. And and Josh Jacobs continued to plod along at his 3.1 yards a carry.
Better than some weeks, though. He does seem like he's
but that doesn't make me feel great. In the meantime, they're going to get Jimmy G back and not be any better. So here comes Caleb Williams.
Caleb Williams, Dad's excited. Did you see Divine Diablo rock bottom a dude?
What?
Listen, Divine Diablo's great.
He rock bottomed somebody in this game. That was fun.
Raiders play Monday night this week.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh. My other favorite thing about the Mack story is he was 1 sack away from tying Derek Thomas.
Derek Thomas's record
was the record, which I believe he got against the Raiders when he had a thing against Jeff George. if you go back and look, he absolutely killed Jeff George every time they played against each other. No matter where Jeff George was, Derek Thomas found him.
Life already did that. He didn't need Derek Thomas to do that to him.
I remain convinced after and as a Raiders fan, I respected the hell out of Derek Thomas. And I was upset when he passed.
Yeah.
I remained convinced for like 3 years after that as an early teenage year kid that at some point, whoever the hell the Raiders quarterback was in the late 90s, sure, Jeff George, let's go with it. Or Vince Evans, like, was going to be in Kansas City and drop back in the pocket, and the hand of Derek Thomas would just come up from underneath the turf and bring him down. Like, not that Derek Thomas didn't own everybody, but he owned the Raiders.
He owned everybody, but he did own Jeff George.
We were talking about earlier with Josh Allen. Like, I've always wondered, like, it does seem like certain players really step up against teams regardless of like coaching staff and how much time has passed. They just have a grudge against the team. And you're right, Derek Thomas always seemed like that against the Raiders.
Oh yeah.
The Chiefs hated the Raiders back then, for sure.
The Raiders hated the Chiefs. Still do. It's just they're not playing on the
same level. It's a different.
Back then, like, I thought way more about the Raiders than I thought that the Chiefs. I often forgot were in the league.
Sure.
Like they were like just forgotten, for a long, long time.
Well, and they went through all those years in like the Trent Green era.
Yeah,
right. Where like they put up 30 points a game, but they weren't actually any good.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
It was a very strange time.
All right, next category is easy. The Ravens, they beat the Browns real easy because the Browns played a backup quarterback who we all thought was good in preseason. UCLA's, what is it, DTR? Is that what his initials are? He did not play well in this game, but I don't know what you expected.
Imagine how hard it is when teams actually like game plan for you.
That was an easy one. I don't know if there's a lot to say here. Easy win.
I don't know who Baltimore. I don't know who Baltimore is, and I don't know who the Browns are.
Agreed.
Yeah.
This game clarified none of that.
I can't get a beat on the Ravens at all.
The Bucks beat the Saints. Speaking of can't get a beat on anything, the Bucks win again. I mean, they lost one. The Saints, the season has really taken a turn ever since Derek Carr landed on his shoulder.
Listen,
he played Saints, in this game.
The Saints got in a fight with their girlfriend and went back to their old bad girlfriend.
Yeah.
And everybody knew how that was going to end. Like, they just need to redeem themselves by playing Taysom Hill. The man is a human bulldozer.
Sure.
Throw the ball 8 times, and that's it.
Learn about the Book of Mormon.
Sure.
Why not?
That'll go over well in New Orleans.
Yeah. And the other one was the Cowboys. This one's a little more. Well, there's one more after this. The Cowboys destroy the Patriots. Mac Jones was bad. He was benched for Bailey Zappi. I always enjoy seeing Zappi come in. Bill Belichick looked miserable.
Yes, he did.
Don Shula, wherever he is he beyond the grave now? I'm not sure.
Yes.
Don Shula was celebrating wherever he is on the plane of existence now.
Right, because how many does Belichick need? Is it just how many games does he need to beat Shula?
It's more than you think, I think.
Is it really? But I thought it was attainable this year.
I think he needs 2 seasons.
Oh, does he? Oh shit, he ain't gonna get that.
Yeah. I mean, Shula was literally the coach of the Dolphins for like 30 straight years.
Yes. Right.
That's a lot of games.
Yep.
This was, sorry, Ryan, if you're done, because I have opinions.
Go ahead.
First of all, and everybody loves to show that react shot of Belichick running his hand down his face.
Yes.
He's got, for a minute, I had to look at it twice, and the people who know what I'm talking about will know. For just a second, I had to look twice because he's got that like black latex ring on the one finger, and I thought he was wearing an ace ring. And I was like, holy shit. that would be a story. And like, good for you if you're out there with it, man. But I don't think he had it on the proper finger. But that would have been cool. That would have been like, all right, there's a moment. But this, from a strictly Cowboys standpoint and Patriots enemy standpoint, this was the game that I've waited for what feels like 22 years. And I don't want to give the Cowboys that much credit. But a game where finally there was a defense that got pressure on the Patriots and fucking camped out on those 3-yard outs that they've been running for 25 years and picked off a bunch of them or swatted them away. Like, everybody knows that the Patriots offense is based on yards after the catch and interference routes. And finally, the Cowboys were the team that just played bump and run coverage and sat on those routes and camped out and picked them off. And the Patriots had no answer all day, and it was beautiful.
It was. And I take such immense pleasure in watching the Patriots be miserable. I really do. And I know it's petty, but I suffered for so long.
We all did.
The Belichick the game has passed him by, and it's not a bad thing. Like a game passed Shula by too. Remember Shula's late years? I mean, it was like the game is just not the same anymore. And there's no. I've been saying it for years. He should have retired 2 years ago. He should have just said, "You know what? I'm done. I got a team to the playoffs, not led by Tom Brady. Goodbye." That should have been his ride off into the sunset. And now he's going to go down as. I mean, you're already getting people questioning that everyone thinks it's Brady. I think it's going to really amplify now throughout the rest of the season. That was this guy ever good, or was he always 500 without Brady?
I have two more points I want to make. One is they're not going to get any better because Matthew Judon is out for 2 months and Christian Gonzalez is out for the season.
And they brought in J.C. Jackson, who's like might as well just be burnt toast.
Right. Like, two of the pillars of your defense that you're banking on to win games are gone now. And the other point I want to say is I looked up the coaching wins record thing.
Mm-hmm.
Belichick is 17 games behind Shula, which means that he needs probably 3 seasons to eclipse that unless something changes here.
It's kind of like Bruce Smith at the end of that career, just banking 4-5 sacks a year so he can get the record.
Just hanging in there, Belichick. Yeah. All right, that's that one. That was fun. That was fun to live in. The 49ers just, again, feel like they don't break a sweat beating the Cardinals.
Best team in the league.
Christian McCaffrey was insane in this game.
Defense was amazing.
Oh, man, I get depressed. Yeah, the defense is great. McCaffrey's great. At some point, like we said, they're going to have to face somebody that's real and be put under pressure, and we'll see then. But the Cardinals aren't
Purdy
that
still
team.
hasn't lost.
I know. It's unbelievable.
Right. All right, Mark's Rams get into a little bout with the Colts. The Rams come out. Puka Nacua overtime score. They win. They're getting some players back next week.
Yep, my boys.
Rams are looking good, Mark.
My only pick, my only team, the Rams. They did look good.
4 teams.
They did look good, and I this team is, I think the games that they've lost, they've still been competitive in, and they've pulled it out. So it's when the ones that they had, they do have an instinct to them, and I like it. I think this team gets better as the season progresses too. I think they start kind of putting teams away earlier. So we'll see. Okay. As long as Stafford's arm doesn't fall off.
I'm talking about the Colts for a second. Mm-hmm. There's something here that feels untenable. If you saw the highlight, Anthony Richardson gets flushed out of the pocket, uses his athleticism, rolls all the way to the right, throws an absolute frozen rope into the open palms of Mo Alley Cox, 25 yards downfield, who scampers into the end zone for a touchdown. It is an unbelievable throw. It's a highlight reel throw. In the end of the day, Anthony Richardson's box score read 11 of 25.
Yeah, it wasn't it's what we thought it was.
Yeah.
It's like clearly some of the ability is there, but and that's the part that's going to make the highlight reel, right? It's like my dad used to say about every power forward that played for the Knicks. You notice the 16 points he scores, you don't notice the 18 that he gives up. It's unbelievable.
Yeah. Yeah. But they're in that division too, which is like kind of up for grabs. Is everybody 2-2 in the AFC South?
Is Houston going to win that division?
Yes. My boy, CJ Stroud's going to win the division. My boy. I'm like Mark now. I'm a Texans fan. Give me the Texans. I want to be a fan of the Texans, please.
Stolen from me.
Yeah, what are we looking at in that division? Everyone is 2-2.
I still think, I don't know. I still think the Jags win it, but nobody's consistent in this division.
No, not at all.
Not yet, anyway.
Not at all right now. Okay, one more game. The Chiefs and the Jets. We've crapped on Zach Wilson a lot. First thing I want to say is he played pretty damn well in this game.
He did.
He balled out.
He had the one fumble, but other than that, man, he was what he's supposed to be, running around, rolling out. He's got an arm. The Jets played fucking hard in this. They really went out there to win this game. They wanted it,
especially when Wilson looked awful in the first quarter.
Yeah.
And then, normally you get a quarterback like that and he comes out looking bad and you're like, oh, it's going to be a long night. And then suddenly it turned on for him and he got a lot better.
Yeah, he did. I mean, maybe they can take something from that, but the Chiefs are just too much. But the refs, did the refs change things in this game?
Yeah. I mean, how can they not? I mean, that last non-hold.
On the run.
Yeah.
Listen, Taylor Swift can't lose.
Yeah, that's true.
That's not going to happen.
Yeah. I will say this, though, but Mahomes, even though he costs like bettors millions, I love that he slid at the 3. That is such a heads-up play that just like, you know what?
So
I could score. It'll be up by 2 scores. They
Don't
probably
need
won't
to.
Get it. Don't need to. Just sit down.
Who's
that Giants player running back who pooped into the end zone? Remember that?
Ahmad Bradshaw.
Right?
Oh yeah,
when he couldn't decide whether to score or not.
Yeah,
that was in a Super Bowl, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. It was in the second Patriots Super Bowl.
Yes.
It's I only bring this out when I'm going to talk about meaningless television crap that nobody but me cares about. Taylor Swift. Let's talk about Taylor Swift for a second. Not that everybody's not.
Yeah,
she's got. Travis Kelce's jersey sales are up 400% since she appeared in the box, not this week, but last week.
Right.
The NFL, the viewership of that Sunday night game among girls aged 12 to 17 was up 53%. Like, Taylor's now carry this forward, and now I'm extrapolating into the land of speculation, but like, let's say that rating stays consistent for every game she appears at. Let's assume the Chiefs make a deep playoff run.
Mm-hmm.
Those ratings are going to be up. The NFL rights carriers are summarily going to be able to charge more for their advertising. And they're going to be able to court advertisers that previously had no business advertising in NFL games.
Absolutely.
Taylor Swift is going to make the NFL and its rights carriers more wealthy just by simply being. She's not performing.
No,
she's not saying anything. She's not a spokesperson.
In the booth.
She's literally just standing in a booth. I don't know if I'm comfortable with that level of hero worship. Like that's like Sinatra in an era where that's not supposed to be possible anymore.
Mm-hmm.
It blows me away. Like, just her being there is going to alter the economics of football on television. Or at the very least of Chiefs jersey sales.
You're going to get eyeballs on the sport in a group that normally doesn't watch it, and that's impressive. That's good for the game.
It's staggering.
Yeah. Wow.
Man. Until they break up, and then she writes a wicked diss track about Travis Kelce, and then the whole thing will fall apart. But
yeah,
there you go. I mean, it was like you said, the ratings were up. Like, what was it? Like you said, like 50. What was it? 50?
Among girls aged 12 to 17, the ratings were up 53%.
Wow.
Among just people in general, when Haley Stanfield was on screen for the Bills game, it was up like 900%. It was amazing. I mean, we know that she's 9 times the performer that Taylor Swift is.
She has more.
And she's dating, let's face it, a better guy. So that makes sense. But it's still, that's impressive numbers for Taylor Swift. I got to give her that. I think her name is Taylor Swift. She's not an Avenger. I know that.
Just as a sidebar, if you happen to be Jason Kelce, how do you feel about any or all of this?
Oh man,
I mean, you got the Chunky Soup commercial with your mom, which was the beginning of the end of the career of Reggie White and Neil Smith and a lot of other prominent players.
Who's a good person for him to date? That would be funny.
He's married. He's married.
They got divorced. Say they got divorced.
Can you get Topanga?
Topanga, there you go. Yeah, right. And people would have to pause,
she's a Philadelphia person. She threw out the first pitch at a Phillies game.
There you go.
Over the weekend.
I just want
Killer Greg.
Listen, these are the things that need to happen. Like Beyonce needs to show up in a Jason Kelce jersey, just hanging out in the box.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Okay, that's all of that. We're ready for our segment. Sad Boy Boat, 4 people. Brian Dayball definitely going on the Sad Boy Boat, I think. Eberflus or the entire Bears organization. No. George Halas rolling over in his grave. Who's going on the Sad Boy Boat?
Eberflus definitely is on the Sad Boy Boat. Right, like that whole press conference was just depressing as hell. Like I didn't feel bad for him, but it was just uncomfortable.
The Bears brass believes in me.
Yeah, he's on there. He's definitely on there.
Evan Neal? Evan Neal on the Sad Boy Boat?
I was gonna say, if you're looking to double up, Chase Claypool's probably on the Sad Boy Boat.
He's gonna get released, right? Like no one's gonna trade for this guy. Like he's just gonna. Why would you trade? Even if you think he's got talent left, you wouldn't trade for the guy when you know he's gonna get released anyway. So
can't skip your Professor Kane computer class. That'll get you sent home.
Seriously. Matt Canada? What about Matt Canada? Is he on the Sad Boy Boat?
I think that's
no, but Matt Canada's burner is.
Yeah, right.
Okay, I think that's 5.
Why do you have a burner if you can't delegate it for other purposes?
Right.
I think that's 5.
There you go.
Oh man! All right, broadcasting moments of the week time. Some of these we talked about. Let's see. Let's begin with Josh Dobbs, who went to the Cardinals Pro Shop last week to try to buy his own jersey, and it wasn't available. Starting quarterback of the Cardinals, Caleb Williams' dad would be upset if his son wasn't in there. Josh Dobbs could not buy his own jersey for himself, even though he's the starting quarterback for the Cardinals.
Weirdly enough, there were plenty of Caleb Williams USC jerseys available in the Cardinals Pro Shop.
Just with a strip of like duct tape over. Man. You peel it back, says McCoy.
This was fun. A picture of the Steelers in the huddle where 6'7", 270-pound tight end Darnell Washington was standing next to 5'9", 160-pound receiver Calvin Austin.
I thought I still think Darnell Washington is going to be a very good blocking tight end.
He might be.
Yeah.
Speaking of the Bears, excuse me. There's this fun graphic of, have you won a game since Elon Musk bought Twitter? Yes, this is 2022, and it's every franchise you can think of circled, and then just the Bears. No.
Wait, every franchise is in like Major League
even
Baseball,
like hockey. Even hockey is in there. Other football franchises, I think, are in here. And just the Bears in their own bubble. No. I guess I could show these, right?
Is Caw Nation on there?
Caw Nation.
Yeah.
By the way, statistic of the week, if you didn't see it, I saw it mean on social media. That's
no. That's a fun one. Here's the picture of, if you haven't seen
Darnell. Holy shit.
That's a fun one. All right. Continuing on. This was weird. David Njoku, Cleveland Brown tight end, burned his face. So arrived like this, wearing this mask. And he did play in the game, but he has no shirt on as well. Did you notice that?
Oh yeah, look at that.
He's no shirt on under the fur coat and
he's a fucking soldier.
He looks like he looks like a Bond villain or something. Of course, we've got Belichick's face and his ring. Slinky the dog as a first down marker. Fun.
Hooray!
I enjoyed this celebration from Stephon Diggs with the slap in the beers.
Yeah,
that was good. Here's a clip of Mac Hollins not having it with Desmond Ridder. Get away from me!
Stop it! Who let you on the field, kid?
Here's a fun one. The internet is undefeated. Broncos go from Nathaniel Hackett to Sean Payton. Guy gets the shirt wearing the shirt. Oh, I like that one. Here's a little bit of Matt Canada's burner account using his work email address.
That's amazing.
Here's a fun one. Baker Mayfield saying, "My dick got hard as soon as I saw him running the motion." Picked up by the bikes.
Let Baker bake. Oh, Baker. He's a fun one.
Oh boy. Here's a fun one. There are no NFL games. This was yesterday, or college games. But now 50 straight days of NFL and college football. Every single night for 50 straight days, there'll be football leading into Thanksgiving. That's fun.
Hashtag fun bill.
I guess we could do Greg's bets right now if we want to, since they're right here. Here's Greg's bets. Last week he went 3.5 out of 5 because the Broncos pushed in the toilet game. They pushed. He's got Dolphins. Right. Dolphins minus 11 against the Giants. I'm gonna stop you
right there. I feel like the Dolphins win this game by like 28. I feel like they're gonna destroy the Giants. I like that. I like that one.
Ravens.
I cannot believe this next one.
Ravens minus 4 against the Steelers.
How are they only getting minus 4?
I'd take that bet all day.
Oh my god, that's ridiculous.
Texans plus 2.5 against the Falcons.
I think that's a good bet too.
Yep.
Colts minus 1, Titans. I feel like that's a Greg bet of all time.
Yeah, but that's a very Greg. That's a Greg being
bet.
Down on his own team bet.
Yeah,
that's a Greg wins no matter what bet.
Yeah, right. Greg wins no matter what. Yeah, exactly. 49ers and Cowboys. They have a great matchup on Sunday night.
They're giving
49ers minus 3.5.
Yeah, okay. All right.
Yeah.
Speaking of the Cowboys, statistic of the week: the Tupac murder was solved before the Cowboys returned to the NFC Championship game.
Wow. The Tupac murder was solved this week.
So I never dove into the whole Tupac murder Wikipedia, but it seems like they knew it was this guy for 20 years, from what I was reading, and they just didn't have the evidence, I guess. But it was very clear that this was the guy behind it.
I remember in my college years, maybe it was it had to be the 5th anniversary of Tupac's death or whatever. And there was a whole article online detailing what we knew at the time and what we didn't know at the time. And there was a poll at the bottom where you could respond with, who do you think shot Tupac? More than 50% of the respondents said, no one, he's still alive. We seem to have moved on from that.
Was there a 40% that said Coolio?
Oh man, me and my friends
committed all those crimes. Coolio did some of that shit.
Me and my friends had the Puffy joke where we were like, "Well, Puffy did it," and then somebody would ask, "Well, who killed Biggie?" And we'd be like, "Puffy did that too."
Puffy did that too, yeah.
Puffy did it all, baby. He's a criminal mastermind.
Late 90s, yeah.
And people get so upset. It's all on Puffy. He's running a crime syndicate.
Mace better be looking over his shoulder.
Yeah, look out, Mace.
Dylan.
I miss Mace. All right, it's time for Drew's college.
Yes, I do. I love Mace. Never said that. Not even Mace.
No one has ever said they love Mace.
I love Mace. That one album's great. You never knew what he was saying, but he always said, "You know what I'm saying?" Because he would mumble. The mumble raps.
Rapper ever.
You know what I'm saying? No, Mace. In fact, I don't have a clue what you're saying.
He left the business to become a preacher for a while.
Yeah, he's a preacher.
And then came back.
Good for Mace.
What is Big Boy up to in Outkast? Is he dead?
No, Big Boy's still around.
He's still with us.
Still
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. There's several others under the Doctor. Who did Regulators? What happened? That guy's gone.
Warren
right?
G.
Yeah. Warren G's dead, right?
Ooh, I'd have to look that up.
His son was in the NFL, not that long ago.
True.
I remember I was
at USC, I think it was.
I think he was during one of the Dr. Dre performances. I was like, "Where's Warren G?" And somebody turned to me and was like, "He's dead."
Also, Warren G and Nate Dogg. That was Regulators.
Right.
Was 2 parts.
Yeah. Right. Thank you for clarifying that. All right, Stripe Spiral time.
I can't follow that up. Let's just skip it. No.
Collapse the segment.
Not ready.
Well, we've hit the milestone, gentlemen. We are down to 22 unbeaten teams, which means there are now fewer unbeaten teams that could fill an AP poll. Right. Not all of those teams are currently in the AP poll because I don't think anybody really believes in James Madison or Marshall that much. But here we are. So we're down to 22, and it's only going to go down from here. The interesting part is, think about the teams that are out. No 2-loss team has ever made the college football playoff, which means as of right now today, TCU, defending national runner-up, is out. LSU's out. Auburn's out. Florida's out. Colorado is out. And boy, they gave USC a fun game. I think USC took their eye off more than because Colorado just started piling up points late. And that was a click because USC was up big in that game. And then Colorado clawed their way back in. That strikes me as a took your foot off the gas kind of game. But Colorado's out and Clemson is out.
Yeah.
Nobody quite knows what the ultimate future of Clemson is. I mean, you still have faith in Dabo. I don't think Dabo's on the hot seat or anything like that. But he's made it very clear that he doesn't intend to be somebody who gets a lot of talent from the transfer portal, which is all fine and good, except that he's still losing players to the transfer portal, and you can't replace all of those guys with high school kids. And it's not like there's going to be a shortage of players who want to come play for him at Clemson and compete in what essentially, Florida State notwithstanding is like a one-team league. Although, boy, Duke looked good against Notre Dame. Although they, that's a real program now. Florida State's good. Miami's good. UNC is good. So the demise of the ACC is much overreported. By the way, Louisville's undefeated and ranked 25th in the country at 5-0. The House of Brown. The House of Brown. Weekly check on Nebraska. They were thoroughly embarrassed by Michigan, 45-7 at home.
Oh, too bad.
Against number 2 Michigan, who, as you might recall from the preseason show, can't stop stepping on their own dick, but they were still good long enough to house Nebraska.
Yep. It doesn't take much.
You want Frank Reich, Nebraska? You can have him.
Yeah.
He's coming home, baby.
Georgia still ranked number 1, maybe as a courtesy. They've not looked great in any of their games. Like, they have the best tight end in the country. They might have the best pure football player in the country in Brock Bowers. That guy's an unstoppable juggernaut. He's the reason they're still undefeated.
Didn't Darnell Washington play at Georgia? I'm
yes.
pretty sure. Like, that's amazing that they had like that deep of a tight end group.
Yes. So. And but Georgia's kind of like the Philadelphia Eagles, right? There's a little bit of like until you prove otherwise with them.
Right. I get it.
They have not been able to get the gears going on offense. Their defense is still pretty good, but they've struggled mightily on offense this year, more even than Alabama, who finally had a get right game and went into Stark Vegas and put Mississippi State into the dirt. Rutgers, who's 4-1, by the way, went ahead and beat Wagner this past weekend. Which is a school on Staten Island. Shout out Wu-Tang Clan. But Rutgers, we're into conference play now. You can schedule real teams, honey. You don't have to play Wagner anymore. I don't yet notice Rutgers is 4-1 and not ranked. Georgia Tech, my fake alma mater. I wish I still had some eligibility because they were up 14-0 and then allowed 38 unanswered points to Bowling Green.
Oh God!
Wow.
Ended up losing 38-27. Bad day for the Ramblin' Wreck.
Another virtual Drew-led team at some point, or am I thinking of something else?
No, Ball State.
Ball State.
I had a 3-time Heisman Trophy winner on my way to 8 straight national championships with Ball State. Thank you very much. You know how hard it is? And this was in the BCS era. You know how hard it is to get voted into the national championship game by the computer when you're Ball State?
Hard.
My non-conference schedule was crazy, bro.
Yeah, FCS Southwest.
If you didn't watch any other game on the weekend, never mind the Notre Dame Duke thriller where Sam Hartman made a bunch of no, yes plays at the end of that game to pull Notre Dame's fat out of the fire and keep their hopes alive. Mm-hmm. If you watch no other game, I hope you watch the LSU Ole Miss game because that game was dynamite. There was a point in the first half of that game where the live under-over was 99 points.
Oh my God.
If you took the over, you won.
Wow.
Game finished 55-49.
Wow.
In an absolute shootout down in Oxford, which, like I said, thoroughly eliminates LSU from title contention. No 2-loss team has ever made the playoff. Coming into this weekend, there's a bunch of good games on the schedule, but the noon time slot is going to be where most of your attention should be directed because the Red River rivalry is played at noon. Texas and Oklahoma. Oklahoma's currently number 12. Texas is number 3. And LSU, who's been eliminated, but they're now, I think they're, 20 in the country or something like that. They now go and play undefeated Missouri, also at noon. Huge possibility here for Missouri. If Missouri wins this game, who, by the way, beat Kansas State on a 61-yard field goal 2 weeks ago, as we've discussed, if Missouri wins this game, they are officially legit. Like, the SEC West would be open for business. The thought that it might come down to Missouri and Bama is insane. And I would still take Bama in that game going away. But if Missouri beats LSU, that's a huge accomplishment for that team. Bama, by the way, gets to play Texas A&M in another battle of Saban versus a former Saban assistant. And Jimbo just trying to avoid that Charlie Weiss money as long as he can.
Right.
So
you all want to take the Barney guarding job.
Yeah. And unfortunately, the Heisman Trophy race, people are handicapping their candidates already. Shedeur Sanders took a big hit with a loss to USC. He might well and truly be out. I wouldn't cross out Brock Bowers from the Heisman Trophy conversation yet. Now, listen, Michael Penix would have to fall apart, and Caleb Williams' arm would have to fall off. And both those teams would have to lose 2 games, and Georgia would have to run the table, having nobody but Bowers be any good. But I'm just saying, it's the first time in recent memory, maybe ever, that a tight end has at least been in the conversation for the Heisman Trophy.
Wow. You know who didn't have a good week in college football? Our guy, Bath Salt's Josh Allen.
I know.
Syracuse lost to that Clemson team because Bath Salt's Josh Allen wasn't good enough.
Nope.
3 fumbles, 5 sacks.
He ran to the Jets.
The first drive, too.
I know.
It was a killer right from go.
This is a bad run for Syracuse. Aren't they playing it's a murderer's
schedule? Yeah. They now go to UNC. By the way, they're going to lose that game by 2 touchdowns.
Yeah. All right, lot to look forward to. I like that you're giving us the time slot now, where we need to actually pay attention. That's good.
Have your 2 box going for the noon window.
There's a bunch of great
games on Saturday, but that's the one where there's 2 great games going on at the same time.
Gotta love the double box. Yeah. All right, time for a football foobar. Mark, who's going into the Idiot Hall of Fame this week?
Well, so a little peek behind the curtain here. So how I usually do these is around Sunday night, I have a little list that I have on a Word doc. And I just basically, anytime I think of somebody stupid, I throw on there. And then I review it on Sunday night. I'm like, who's jumping out at me? And sometimes if something happened in the regular season that kind of sparked a memory or a connection, I'll induct that player. I've done that a couple of times. I'll decide on Monday and write the whole thing up Monday afternoon and then, read it over on Tuesday, make some tweaks and then present it. And there's always a narrative, right? It's always here's how this guy started his career. Here's how it went. Here's the fuck ups he made. Moving on, right? Okay. I had to cut this one short because I got to a point where I could not, when I was doing my research, I kept coming across problems that this guy ran into in massive screw ups. And I had to say, if I did this all day, we would be here for hours. I had to stop it at a certain point. So I did. He had more fuck ups than our mascot, Antonio Brown. It's amazing how many incidents this guy had. So today, gentlemen, I got the fever. I got Pac-Man fever. Because we're going to induct Pac-Man Jones into
He just did something a week ago. Didn't he get kicked off a plane or something? Yes, He's still doing stuff.
I'll get to that. Don't worry. So, Pac-Man, like a lot of these guys, stellar high school career, excelled in baseball, basketball, football, track, national recognition and everything. Went to University of West Virginia in 2002. Had once again an amazing career as a corner, and I think a lot of people forget how good he was as a returner too. He was real electric as a college football returner. People think when people think of that, they think of Tavon Austin, who was always that highlight reel. Pac-Man had some. I watched them; they're amazing returns that he had in his career. In 2005, he decided to forego his senior year and declared for the NFL draft when he was selected 6th overall by Killer Greg's own Tennessee Titans. And I have a memory of this because we were all watching the draft and the Titans were up and they drafted Pac-Man Jones and he was sitting on his couch with a giant Pac-Man symbol. And he was just really looked like he was having a lot of fun. And Greg just kind of sighed and said, "Can we give him back?" And for those who don't remember Pac-Man, you might be wondering, why would you want to do that? A guy was 6th overall, obviously had the talent, great returner, great cornerback. It really was. A lot of the pundits, a lot of the coaches had questions about his maturity going into the NFL. Mel Kiper specifically at this draft went on a rant about how this guy's just straight up not ready. Okay? So, let's chronologically explore Pac-Man's problems at this point. So, while he was in college in 2004, Jones got into a fight on the West Virginia campus, causing him to go on probation. Not college probation, police probation. It was that bad of a fight. He then got drafted in the NFL, immediately held out, because of course he did. Contract negotiation dragged on to the middle of training camp. In 2005, so after he signed his contract, he was arrested for assault and felony vandalism at a Nashville nightclub. 2 months later, police were called on him because he refused to pay a valet and was belligerent with cops at the Nashville Sports Council luncheon. 5 months after that, Jones was arrested again and charged with felony obstruction of justice after a house party. 2 months after that, the house party incident. By the way, this is April 2006. Almost less than a year after this man has been drafted. Pac-Man's car was discovered at the location of a huge cocaine bust. Now, the car was not registered to Pac-Man. So how do we know it was Pac-Man's car? Okay, because the word Pac-Man was stitched into the head seat of both of the seats in the car, and he had a giant bejeweled Pac-Man logo on the dashboard. So he later admitted it was his car, but he loaned it to a friend to make a rap video, which I guess bought him enough benefit of the doubt where he didn't really get in trouble for this one. 4 months after the cocaine bust, he was arrested again, this time for spitting at a woman at a local nightclub. 2 months later, he was arrested for the same fucking thing, spitting at a woman at a nightclub. Maybe he's like the guy from INXS and that's his thing, but he seemed to get arrested a lot for that. Now, what comes next is probably what most people remember Pac-Man getting in trouble for. I'm just going to read the Wikipedia verbatim on this because it's like a fucking Mad Lib, okay? On the morning of February 19, 2007, during the 2007 NBA All-Star Weekend in Las Vegas, Jones was allegedly involved in an altercation with an exotic dancer at Minx, a local strip club. Jones and American rap artist Nelly, along with another patron named Richie Rich, showered the stage with hundreds of $1 bills, an act known as Making It Rain. Club promoter Chris Mitchell then directed his dancers to pick up the money. According to club's co-owner, Jones became enraged when a dancer began taking the money he threw at them without his permission. He allegedly grabbed her by the hair and slammed her headfirst onto the stage. A security guard intervened and scuffled with members of Jones's entourage. Jones then allegedly threatened the guard's life. During this time, Mitchell and a male associate left the club with a black garbage bag they found behind the bar filled with $81,020 in cash and 2 watches, which police later recovered. After club patrons left following an original confrontation, the club owner claimed that a person in Jones's entourage returned with a gun and fired into the crowd, damaging equipment and striking 3 people, including a security guard. The guard was shot twice, and one of the people hit former professional wrestler Toby Urbanowski, don't know who that was paralyzed from the waist down. Now, Jones maintained he did not know the shooter, although the club's owner said he did. What followed was a truly insane mess. Pac-Man paid extortion money to the club owner. He did a settlement to the guy who got shot to upwards of millions of dollars, and he got suspended by the NFL for a year because of this insanity. Now, during that time off, Pac-Man became a pro wrestler and won the TNA Tag Team Championship with R-Truth.
I forgot about that.
You know who also wrestled in TNA? X-Pac. Got that out of the way.
Mark, why did they team him with R-Truth?
Did Dan Snyder run that promotion?
It's like Vince is in the other one. So I also assume Caleb Williams' dad was probably in TNA at this point too.
Oh, they're all coming at once here. Dayball was watching that pay-per-view at bar.
He's their manager. Pac-Man was eventually reinstated, bounced from the league, and retired in 2018, by the way. That seems not that long ago. That's amazing that he hung around as long as he did. The crazy thing is, though, I literally could have kept going. I'm cutting it here. But there were 10 other problems that I could have talked about after the strip club incident, including what Ryan just mentioned. He got arrested last month because he caused a disturbance on an airplane and made terroristic threats. This is last month. So looking back on it, Titans probably should have just given him back. Welcome to Football Fubar, Pac-Man.
Quick question. Was that the first time we ever knew what making it rain meant? Was that the original making it rain moment?
It was the first time I remember the term being used. Yeah. Not that I spent a lot of time in Las Vegas strip clubs back then, but
I mean, not Las Vegas ones, but 2007, that was
He also had some nasty hits, right? Didn't he do something in the Bengals? As a Bengal, didn't he do something in a Bengals game?
What I remember about him was that he was very like big play or nothing. That's what I
did
remember.
Did he drop a pick in the playoffs? He did something.
That might have been it. No, because the Bengals had that other guy who was dirty.
Right. Yeah.
Name I can't think of right now.
They had a separate, different bad person on their team.
Who ended up getting kicked out of the league.
Yeah. Oh man. Also, when you talked about Brian Daboll as a manager, I just couldn't get him as a manager out of my head in wrestling, and I couldn't stop thinking about beautiful Brian Daboll being his name.
He's dressed like Mr. Fuji, right?
Yes. Yeah, of course. Yes. Yeah. I want to have him have a promo battle with Jim Cornette.
Yeah.
You beaver tooth motherfucker.
He managed the Body Donnas.
Yeah.
That's a deep cut.
That would be a pretty good. You know what? Considering how out of shape he is, that's actually pretty good.
Exactly. He's fat. You get it? You see these other two guys? All right. All right. Real quick, game balls. You got a game ball for me, Drew?
I would like to take back last week's game ball. Talking of taking things back, because I was ready to give Masai Ujiri credit, and then boy, he did not land Damian Lillard.
No, he didn't.
He didn't.
In the meantime, I will give a present game ball to Khalil Mack, because why not?
Oh, sure.
Why not rub the Raiders' nose in it?
All right, Mark. Who's your game ball going to? I think I know.
No, you're not going to get this one.
Oh.
Zach Wilson. I mean, that dude balled the fuck. Everybody was against him in this game. Even after the first quarter, it got even worse. The fans were turning on him, and he put in an amazing game. Like, I was so impressed with him at the end of this one. So, game ball.
All right, mine's going to Puka Nacua for that overtime catch in traffic. That guy's he's just good.
He's great.
He's just good. All right, time for some plugs. Drew, what you got coming up on the music website, music blog?
Hopefully this time next week on Bloody Good Music, I will have a review completed of the new Contrast album. It's a German industrial dance band. They haven't had an album in 9 years, and the last I heard them, they were every bad stereotype about German music mixed with like the most annoying parts of Big Dumb Face and some Ministry dashed in there. But believe me when I say that it works.
Okay.
So I've just received their new album in my inbox. I've given it about half of a spin. I'll by this time next week the review will be done.
Hey, fun boys, get a room.
Kind of, yes. Like there's definitely a song about Lederhosen. So
I love it. I love it. The TGF podcast is in production. Yep. It's been recorded. It's being it's got to be edited. That'll be out soon about virginity.
It was a good episode. It was real fun.
I feel like such a bad influence.
Yeah. It was suggested to us by Drew.
Yes, that's right.
Which makes it even better. So
yep.
That should be, I'm going to be working on that over the next few days. So hopefully I'll have it out soon.
Possibly the last episode of WCWDF podcast.
That's true.
Coming out soon, recording soon. Maybe out of necessity. I don't know. But anyway, wrapping it all up, putting a period at the end of the sentence. We'll see.
We got a lot of things. Got a lot of plugs. All right. We're looking forward to week. What are we at? Week 5? Oh my God. That went fast. Week 5. Are we ready to go back to the Diddly Poo map and re-rank? Look at what we did and move some teams around next week, or do we want to wait for one more week?
We're through the first furlong. I would be okay with that, but I'm open to suggestion.
All right, let's do that next week. We'll go back to our rankings, take a look, and move some things around. Make some changes, because there's definitely changes.
Oh, yeah.
Mark's Rams moving on up the ladder.
My Commanders up the ladder.
Mark's Commanders.
Can we just have a tier for everybody who's 2-2 or feels like they should be 2-2? That's going to make this so much faster.
Right.
There's going to be 25 teams in that tier.
Yeah, right. That's true. Not the Bears, though. We know where they're going to be.
Firmly in their spot.
Firmly down in the Caleb Williams dad tier.
Yeah, right.
I think we need to make a tier. Change Diddly Poo to Caleb Williams dad.
2-2 or feels like 2-2, and Caleb Williams dad sweating. So.
They're making him nervous.
Yeah, right.
All right. That's it. We're done here. Peace out, everybody. We'll see you next week.
Podcast.
Oh, he does.
He has to be interviewed on this podcast.
Everybody else does, so he does.
Has to happen. Yeah. All right, peace out, everybody. We'll see you.